Everybody wants everything that they want. Material object, relationship, money, experiences, conditions, circumstances, because they want to feel good. And they believe that in the having of it, they will feel good. So you've hit right upon the essence of what is most natural to you, because there isn't anything that anybody wants that is for any other reason than that. So do you think it's possible that you're in a more often vibrational place of connection than you're giving yourself credit? The reason we ask is because you can't go from a lower vibration to a higher vibration all of a sudden. It's like just asking someone to jump over the house. It's not likely. So as you move incrementally, have you ever gotten into a very hot tub of water and at first you think you better get out, but then you think, no, I can stand it. And then before you know it, you've acclimated. Long before the water is cooled, your body has adjusted. Or dive into cold water and at first you think you better get out. But you don't, and then you acclimate. And so what happens is you acclimate to your vibration, and sometimes you don't realize how far you've come or what your vibrational frequency really is. So when you are launching these desires, they are rockets. They move quickly out of the thought process that you are experiencing. And so as these rockets of desires move into what we are calling this vibrational reality, your inner being tends to them, understands them, actually becomes more because of them. And when you think about then law of attraction responding to the set point of your own inner being, there's a lot going on there which you may or may not be up to speed with. So the more up to speed with that you are, the more exhilaration you're feeling, the more anticipation you're feeling. The more not up to speed with it, then the less of that, of course. But what we want to call your attention to in this discussion is the word momentum, because it isn't so much the details of what you're thinking, it's the consistency with which you think them. In this vibrational universe where you have, without knowing it, most of you, parlayed your inner being's vibration relative to you and what you want into a very high, fast moving momentum. Most, because of your inconsistent connection with it, don't feel that momentum. And so your inner being is soaring over the ideas that you've put there. And law of attraction is gathering powerful momentum to them. But if you're not consistent in your positive self-talk or your positive expectation about it, then you're missing the momentum. And that's what you would describe as fear and trepidation. But mostly, I'm not all that jazzed about what's going on in my vortex. I don't feel that much enthusiasm for things. I'm not waking up eager to get out of bed and bound into action about it. So emotionally, what the message is to you is that while your vortex and your inner being and what you've created are moving fast and high flying with the potential for you of so much exhilaration and so much passion and so much zest for life, because of your inconsistent connection with it, you're just not feeling it. And in fact, this is so important to understand. The faster the momentum of your vortex is, the more you will feel its opposite if you're not with it. Because it's that relational thing, you see. It's sort of like flying in an airplane, and you look out, and there's another 747 flying off there with you, and you're moving together. So the relationship between the two of you is interesting and soothing. But if that 747 is passing you, you ever looked out and seen that? It's almost shocking. The relationship between that plane and the plane that you're in. And so we want you to think about the relationship between the momentum of your inner being and the momentum of you, and you want to get up to speed with that. So when you do, And this is the thing that's interesting. When you do, sometimes that sensation is one of peacefulness and interest and satisfaction and contentment. Sometimes, as you're just getting up to speed, you feel more energy. Sometimes when you are up to speed and then you deliberately turn on the juice by becoming more specific about it, then you get to be the controller of the speed of the momentum, and that is what we believe that you are looking for. So this is the very brief encouragement that we'd give you. Don't get into detail unless you're pretty sure you're up to speed. And so unless you're feeling pretty happy about something, don't talk on about it. Never talk in opposition to what you want. That's just a surefire thing to get you slowed down so that you don't relate to your own momentum. Momentum is such a wonderful thing. And the thing that we most want to talk to all of you about, when you wake up in the morning and you've not already begun the negative self-talk or whatever, so you've allowed your cork to naturally float as it will up into that pure positive energy. You begin in the energy of your inner being. And as you then direct your attention to the things that matter to you, not to the opposition of those things, but to the things that matter to you, now you begin that conscious feeling of momentum. You follow all of that? We're giving you the basis of the law of attraction about it. This is the piece that we really want you to hear. And it may feel new to a lot of you. Law of attraction is responding to everything that is. And you have 2 points of attraction going on all the time. The point of attraction of your inner being, who's in your vortex with everything that you want, and the point of attraction of your usual thoughts, which is what equals your beliefs, because a belief is just a thought that you continue to think. So as law of attraction is responding to 2 competing beliefs, there can be resistance between you. So the closer to your accepting who you really are and what you really want, then the more you move with the momentum of your inner being. So can you hear what we're saying to you? Sometimes that feeling of not moving fast is because you're moving with your inner being, and so the relationship of it doesn't feel that fast. Sometimes the feeling of not moving fast is because you are really having opposing thoughts about the things that you want, and you're just going to have to figure it out as you go about which you're doing. Because elation and exhilaration and passion, that always means that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and that in your focus you are discovering new thoughts along the way. It's always the new groundbreaking into new places that gives you that greatest feeling of exhilaration. So talk more about what you want and far less about what you don't want. And don't try hard to make it happen. Don't you be the motivator to law of attraction. Let law of attraction do what law of attraction does. And you just dovetail as best you can, as often as you can, with the feeling that your inner being has about what you want. Which leads us to the most significant thing that we will ever say to any of you. And that is, the emotion that you feel is your indicator of how in sync you are with your inner being or not. In other words, your emotions matter so much because they're telling you all day, every day, how in sync you are. And these are even better words. Are you looking at whatever you're looking at? Are you considering whatever you're considering in the same vantage point that your inner being is? Are you seeing through the eyes of Source, or are you seeing through the eyes of you who's not in sync with Source? Because when you're looking through the eyes of Source, your range of emotion goes from a feeling of satisfied contentment all the way up to that passion. But that off-the-wall feeling is always when you turn on the juice. Something else that's important for you to understand. You've created this vortex, so your reality is already done. You don't have to set more goals. You've done it. You don't have to define with more clarity what you want. You've done it. But your conversation that sounds like goal setting, your conversation that sounds like being more specific. I would like this, and the reason that I like that is because of this, and this I adore about this, and this I adore about this. When you begin speaking in those kinds of specifics, it's not for the purpose of the step 1 of the asking, and it's not for the purpose of the step 2, which has already been done. It's for the purpose of you in this moment doing your best to become in sync with your inner being. So the processes that we offer you, those are not creative processes. Those are allowing processes. The creation is already done. That's really what we would like to get across to you. Your vortex is a done deal. The things you want are done. It's hard for you to accept that, but it's time for you to accept that. The things you want are done. They're done. The money you want, it's done. The relationships you want, it's done. It's already arranged. It's already orchestrated. It's already real. So the conversation that you have is your tuning conversation. It's the way you tune yourself into receiving the path to what you want to call more doneness. You want to call more satisfying doneness. And we are not arguing with you one bit. We know that the manifestation is more satisfying than the visualization. We get that. But unless you're happy, passionate, joyful, satisfied with the visualizing before it becomes a reality, the reality is going to be slow to come because of all the reasons we've just given you. You'll kill it with your doubt. Esther's been playing a friend of hers, comedian friend with pink hair. Said to Esther one day about something that they were talking about someone, "Suck it up, buttercup." And Esther thought, yeah, that's a good bumper sticker. But she was applying it to herself. In other words, sometimes when what you want is over there in that vortex and hard to see and hard to feel, it just feels missing. You just got to suck it up, buttercup. You just got to accept that it is in a different form than maybe you want it to be, but it is in a form that if you will focus on, it will become in the form that you want it to be. And then when you get there and you get a whole lot of those things going on, you'll begin to understand that the joy really is in the journey, that it really is in that sweet spot of it turning to the things. That's really what you came for. You didn't come for the manifested. You came for the manifesting. You didn't come for the completion. You came for the completing. You didn't come for the doneness. You came for the beingness. You came for the experience of the energy flowing. You came for the life force flowing through you. You came for the feeling of being off of it and then on it and tuning it and understanding it and watching it evolve. You came to direct the energy that creates worlds in the direction of things that matter to you, with a cooperative universe, with the energy that creates worlds backing you up, supporting you and giving you everything that you want all day, every day. You just got to tune to it. So first you got to understand it. You got to accept it. You got to know that it's real. Then you got to accept it for yourself. You got to trust yourself. You got to feel worthy about your ability to project it, which means you got to practice it. You got to watch the universe's responses to the things you do. Esther would say, when something wonderful would happen, I did that. And when something not so wonderful would happen, she would say, I did that too. I did that too. The universe is reflecting back to you what you're projecting out. So make sure that your dialogue, that you're talking, is about what's in the vortex, not what's missing from it. Your talking is not to make it happen. It's happened. Your talking is to tune with what you've already made happen. Isn't that a strong statement for you to take away from this? Let your conversation be a tuning conversation, not an anti-tuning conversation. Let it be a tuning to the vortex, not a tuning to its absence. How often do you say, I can't, or I shouldn't? Watch your words. Watch the thoughts that are behind your words and tune yourself to what's going on in your vortex. And then watch how quickly it morphs, how it moves. You look for it wherever it is. You pronounce it yours. You talk about it as you want it to one day manifest and as it already is vibrationally. And then it's all over your experience. Really good conversation.